All right. What's going on out there, YouTube? This is SDL0320 representing JV. It is 5:56 right where I am right now. If you guys are somewhere else and it's New Year's, Happy New Year's to you guys. I am simultaneously doing this live and I'm also doing this on my DSLR camcorder. So, this is about to go down. This is my official list. I've actually looked at a couple, at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 films in the past 3 days that actually made it into my top 20 list. So I'm gonna give you guys my official top 10 list for 2017. Hopefully, you guys having a great time with family and friends. I encourage you guys to go and celebrate the new year. I'm definitely gonna be doing that tonight, but I wanted to give you guys a huge shout out and doing this live while I'm doing it. Hope you have a good new, happy new year to you too, Trophy Hunter. All right, let's go ahead and get this started because I know I already made like a semi list before, but it was my unofficial list because I still had movies I wanted to check out. And let me know if you have any questions. You can go straight to the chat and talk about it right now. I don't have any problem with that. So here we go. Here's the list. All right. Number 20. I'm going to start from 20 up because this list has changed from the last time. The last time I had, some movies up here that were really good, near dear to my heart, but they have changed. Some of them have been moved. Some of them have been taken out of the list completely. So be forewarned if you've already checked out my initial list. Number 20. Thor Ragnarok. I thought this movie was hilarious. I didn't have any expectations for Thor Ragnarok. I thought that, the first movie was okay. Second movie I wasn't into. I thought it had a lot of potential. But the reality of it is that Thor Ragnarok, Thor 3, is one of the better Marvel movies. It's undeniable. Like, I can't sit there and fake. Like, I actually really had a great time watching that movie. I thought it was hilarious. That's my number 20. Number 19, Patriots Day. Mark Wahlberg, all-star cast. The Boston bombings. I thought this was one of the most visceral, in-your-face like film that was not just ambitious, but it was emotionally gut-wrenching. Like I legit was watching it and I was just like, this happened. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like things happen on the news and then like so many things happen that it escapes your mind when you go back and recall it in a film. Kind of like with Spotlight, same exact situation, but this was a really good film. My number 18, Wonder. I thought that this was an amazing, heartfelt film. Got this young boy, same actor that was in the movie The Room, and he does a masterful performance. Like I was all behind him. I didn't know it was a book until my wife told me about it, and I thought that it was so heartfelt. But I think the thing that I liked about the film, it was so well directed and it was so well positioned because you had moments where the story was going on from a pacing standpoint, but then it would go back and recall like this is this person's story, this is this person's story, and I thought it was just a masterful film on so many different levels, and I thought it was very heartfelt, but it was a very good film as well. My number 17, Molly's Game. You guys have already seen my review for it. I was really surprised. I love Jessica Chastain. I love Idris Elba, but it was something about this film that like I wasn't pressed to see it. I didn't have it in me to watch it at all. And then I started watching it. I was like, this is so intriguing. Like this is so much happening and so much this pushing into my face. I was like, how could a person go through all this? And this is really her story. And I commended the story. I thought they delivered it very well. That's part of the reason why I really want to see like The Darkest Hour, and I really wanted to see what was the other game, the Disaster Artist, because those are really good character pieces that are taken off of characters that are real, you know what I'm saying? And I thought this was a very good nudge at that. But unfortunately, I did not get to see Darkest Hour and didn't get to see, like I said, the Disaster Artist. But I would have definitely seen it. So shout out to you, Trophy Hunter, for giving a shout out to that movie. I know it's probably really good. Number 16, Okja. I just filmed my review for it. That's going to be coming out pretty soon. But this movie, oh man, it hits you right in the gut. Like legit, like I was really surprised that one, how great the CG is for the creature Okja, but then all these random great actors in Dano, Gyllenhaal, Swinton, And like they just commit to their character so well that it just immerses you right into what's happening, and it doesn't stop. It flows perfectly, and I think that the way that the cinematography is just amazing because like I believe legit that this was really happening. And so my review and my number review for that is coming up a little bit later on. So stay tuned for that. That was my number 16, Okja. Number 15, The Big Sick. Dude, man, that movie, not only was it one of the funniest comedy this year for me. I think that one and Thor Ragnarok tied for the best comedies for me this year. But in terms of the way that this movie emotionally simplistically hits me, I was like, this is such a real story, and this is a part of a culture that I don't know, and the way that they're positioning it is coming straight in my face, and I was just like, this is really good story. This is a very engaging dynamics where you got culture and differences, racial and differences. How does this really work? And based on it being a true story, I thought it was a very well done film. And if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend you check it out. Again, I told you the list has changed. The last number 14, Star Wars, The Last Jedi. So it's moved down in the list. You'll find out why. You'll find out why later. The Last Jedi, I really enjoyed it, you guys. Like I stand on my word that initially it was an 8.5 to me. Yes, I do have negatives about the film, nitpicks about the film. Definitely I left the film with more questions than I got answered from the last film. But as a actual film, it was great, man. Like it was a experience for me, and we've done discussions on it and everything. So I'm not gonna go into it here, but for me, the number rating has gone up the more I've watched it, and I've actually been really engaged in the conversations with other people with it. But more than anything, it did something to me that I really appreciated, which made me think, made me engage, and I have no idea, preconceived notion of what's gonna happen next. So to me, I thought Last Jedi was really good. Number 14, Dunkirk. You already know I love Christopher Nolan. You know what I'm saying? I would love for this movie to be higher up on the rank, but unfortunately it's dropped down a little bit. But Dunkirk, from a visual immersion standpoint and an experience, that is a movie you need a surround sound, a big screen TV. If you saw it in the movie theaters, you probably would just like, like it probably did that to you. And it's just like the acts of war. Like they don't even go into the grotesqueness of, you know, gore, and that's no shade to like movies like Hacksaw Ridge, but like they don't need it because like the experience enough is just it's haunting. Like that submerging scene, it felt real. And I don't know how they shot this thing. I don't know how they shot this movie. Anyway, it was great. Number 12, which I did a review for just recently, Gerald's Game. Yo, Gina, what is her name? Is her name Gina? I forget her name. Hold on, let me make sure I fact check that. Gerald's Game, Gina, Gerald's Game. Is that her name? No, Carla. Carla Gugino does a job in this movie that messed me up. Like I was like emotionally engaged. I watched it twice by now, right? And like I was kind of just like, what is she gonna do? Like, I mean, not to say that the movie is perfect, but the performance and the way that this movie melts your mind in perspective of what's really happening, what's really real, like you won't guess the ending. And I thought that that was the most interesting part about this film that I was all behind. I love Gerald's Game. Number 11, about to get to the 10s very soon. The Shape of Water. That went down on the list, unfortunately. Shape of Water, dude. That was another visual masterpiece. I thought that Hawkins did a great job with her performance. I thought that, shoot, man, everybody brought it in that film. But the fact that the monster was basically practical and wasn't a whole bunch of CG, dude, like, that movie was crazy. I thought that the performances were great. I think that Hawkins is definitely going to get a nomination. I wouldn't be surprised if Shannon might get a nomination or a nod or something like that. Octavia Spencer did a great job. The movie itself was really well done. So here we go. We're getting into the top 10. All right, y'all ready? Y'all ready? All right, here we go. Number 10, Logan. And I'm talking about Logan Lucky because I didn't see that movie. I'm talking about Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart's best performances as these characters in Logan. Yes, Logan was a movie, not a superhero film. This movie to me is like kind of like you compare it to The Dark Knight, not in terms of the quality of the film, but in terms of taking like, cartoon, comic book based characters and grounding them to the utmost. And I thought that Logan did that to a T. Like Logan was legit. Shout out to my man Felwell34. Where your list at, dog? Anyway, Logan was masterful. It's undeniable. If you looked at the thing in black and white, oh my gosh, it was crazy. I got it on 4K. I looked at it and I was like, this movie still stands out. It's just it doesn't skip a beat, and it was a great send off to the character. Number 9, Baby Driver. To me, besides this, Bright, and what's another movie that had a great soundtrack? Thor Ragnarok, maybe. I was disappointed in Guardians soundtrack, but Baby Driver's soundtrack was lit. And the fact that the soundtrack drives the scenes and the cinematography, dude, Edgar Wright, dude, make him the director of the new Flash film. Please, because what he does with all these actors is just amazing directing, amazing choreographed, cinematic, and then just the story was so simplistic, but I was like, this is a great film. So that to me was one of the better films this year. Number 8, Mudbound. I gave Mudbound legit a 10 out of 10, you guys. Like, Mudbound hit me in a way that I didn't know. And it's not just the nod from Mary J. Blige or, my man Jackson from Straight Outta Compton. It was the fact of immersion and symmetry between two different peoples, two different races in terms of how they interact and how visceral after the war things are, and how like you go to war, you sacrifice yourself, you sacrifice your humanity to a certain extent, then you come back and things don't change. Like, I thought that this was the perfect identification of that. And for me, like, they haven't made a movie like that in a long time. Like, I was behind this. And the fact that it was a Netflix film, Netflix doing their job. Like, you notice, like, I've got Okja up here, I've got Mudbound up here, and like Netflix is doing their thing, even with Gerald's game. Number 7. And some people gonna hate on me for this one. Finally, Gerald's like, this ninja. Wind River hit me home too, man. Wind River was that movie that I was just like, yo, we haven't talked about the Native American reserves and where they live and how they do. We know facts about like, lawlessness and like alcoholism and like people are outside of their homes, but we don't know how these reservations truly are. And this movie put it in your face on an emotional and a visceral level that was in only 2 hours, less than that maybe, that I connected with, man. Like, I was just like, Jeremy Renner like did so much with his acting that he didn't have to say anything. I felt the pain. I was connected with the people from the pain. I know Spider-Man was initially on my list, unfortunately, but yeah, I'm sorry. Let's connect next. So, number 6, Split. Split was lit. That's the word of the day. Split was that movie that you're just like, okay, this is that typical horror film. You got like this random guy, the schizophrenic. No, it is deeper than that. Like, this movie is a science fiction thriller masterpiece for me because it pays homage to, those films where you don't really know where things are going. And when you think you know, you have no idea. And then at injury to the end of the film, you're like, it's connected to this movie? What? They're making another one? What? Glass? You know what I'm saying? So, to me, I thought that one, James McAvoy should be nominated for Best Actor. Even if he doesn't win, he should be nominated for Best Actor. He should have at least gotten a Golden Globe nomination. But because it came out in January, nobody's talking about it. I had to put it on my top 5. I had to. Anyway, so let's move forward. Or at least my top 10, I should say. Number 5, War for the Planet of the Apes. Yo, War for the Planet of the Apes was that movie, man. Like, that movie, it messed my wife and me up. Because, one, my wife, she looked at Rise of the Planet of the Apes. She looked at, the second film. And then she looked at War. And, like, she said 2 things going into the movie. She was like, I need Caesar's family to live. I need Caesar to not die for his cause. And it's like, even though those things didn't go the way she wanted, she still felt that immersion and that passion and drive in a character that isn't real. It's a CG character, and that's all my man Andy Serkis. Andy should get nominated, bro. He should. I don't know if he will. I doubt he will, but he legit should, man. Even his work on Snoke, man. Like, he's a great actor, and I thought he put and poured his all into this. Number 4, Your Name. If you think about time and the process, how time works, and animation at its best, that is Your Name. I don't even want to reveal what the movie's about because a lot of my friends still have yet to see it, but if you have seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Not only is it a great emotional, romantic film, but it is a coming of life kind of story. Not just a coming of age, a coming of life kind of story. And I was really impressed what they were able to do with that film. Yeah, that was my number 4. Number 3, Skarsgård. It. Clowns. It. Of course. It was that movie that surprised me, bro. Like, not only did the kids do an amazing job acting this, but the fact is that film, I didn't know, one, that it would scare me as much as it did, or surprise me as much as it did, or captivate as much as it did, or make me laugh as much as it did. But the simple fact, it's one of the best films this year. Like, I never would have guessed that a film like this, coming from like the TV movie or even coming from the books, will be something that they were able to put together so well that I cannot wait for the chapter 2 to come out. I can't wait, bro. Some of you guys, Bill Skarsgård did an amazing job as Pennywise. Bill is another one. You notice how there's a trend with my top 10 list. Like, he's another one that should get nominated, but might not. But it was my number 3. Number 2, Get Out. Go. Get the heck out. Dude, Get Out was Jordan Peele's like love song to horror and psychological mind-bending influence that has a real layer to the dimensions of racial confusion in terms of how people perceive and look at each other. And like, a lot of people missed it. A lot of people just saw the fact that, one, this was a surprising film, this was an engaging film, this was a comedic film, it was an impressive film that didn't have too many negatives at all, but a lot of people missed that layer that you don't get, because if you're not on the other side of it, you won't understand it. And it was like, it still is one of the highest rated on Rotten Tomatoes. Has a Metacritic score of like 84, but even like my man Daniel Kaluuya, he might get a nomination. He got a nomination, I think, for Golden Globes, but he might end up getting a nomination. I'd be surprised if Jordan Peele might get a director nomination. But that was an amazing film. That's my number 2. Whew, man, I'm tired. Lord, jeez. Number 1. Take my hat off for this one. Number one film this year, and I'll describe it. I'm gonna see if you guys can guess what it is. This movie, to me, was one of the best science fiction masterpieces that is technically a sequel, but doesn't care that it's a sequel this year. And the way that they filmed this movie, is mind-bendingly amazing. They came out with 2 animes before the movie released out. Came from an amazing film. Got my man Harrison Ford back for it. Of course, it's Blade Runner 2049. The movie was lit. Like, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Gerald says, I don't know if any of you guys think that Ryan Gosling could get a nomination or Harrison Ford could get a nomination for it. But the reality is, as a film, it's a masterpiece. And it didn't make any money at the box office. It made nowhere near as much money as Star Wars. But as a constructed film, the film is one of the best films I've ever seen. Period. And the fact is that this year, I just looked at, you know what I'm saying, Blade Runner, the final cut, and then I went back and looked at all the other incarnations. I went back and looked at the animes, and I looked at this film, and I was like, that's how you make a movie. That is how you do it. So you guys, most of you guys guessed it in the chat, so shout out to all you guys. But yeah, man, like I think that legit, Blade Runner was one of those movies that, like the original, people didn't know what was going on. They couldn't figure it out. So it didn't make that kind of money like Star Wars made, or even like any of the other films I've kind of named off today. But I feel like it really should have. So if you really want to show some support for the film, I think right now you can get Blade Runner 2049 on digital. Get the digital downloads, and definitely you can go and probably next week or next 2 weeks. I think on the 16th or either next week, it should be coming out on Blu-ray. I'm getting that joint on 4K, man. I can't wait. I legit cannot wait to get that on 4K. But that is my list. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed man, this undertaking that I did for this top 10 list. Me and my wife, we got to get ready. We got a party to go to tonight. Please be safe. I pray blessings upon you guys. Pray that you guys have a blessed New Year's and you have a great time with your family and friends. Hopefully you guys enjoyed all of this. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. Got a lot coming for you guys very soon. A lot of new surprises, film ideas that are coming. And y'all have a safe one, okay? Peace, guys. Have a good night. Uh-oh, I don't know how to stop this. There we go.